raging queen that I've chosen for a best man. Haircut like Travis Bickle. If we hadn't all met the lovely Alex, we'd have all still be presuming that he's gay. Yeah, just getting some before you get something on me. So yeah, a little toast to Luke and Alex. They're emigrating to Australia. And he's done a sterling job. He's done exactly everything I've told him to do. So I'll hand you over now to Luke.
I've prepared a few bullet points just to keep you on track.
If I've missed anybody, then
I've got a few bullet points. I understand that there's quite a big, diverse crowd in here, and I don't know everyone in here, so everyone's experience with Neil was quite personal, so I'll try to keep it quite sort of for everyone. You can have the cigar, it's Some of what I'm about to tell you might be shocking to some of you, but educational nonetheless. I believe here, really, actually, normally I'm going to sort of take the piss out of Neil a bit, but then get back on his side. But my job here, I think, is actually to divulge my deepest, darkest secrets about Neil. And now, Amy, some of what you're about to hear, you already know. Some may come as a shock to you. Some of us in this room are still having counselling for things. But here we go. So I suppose, Amy, what this is a bit of a recap, and to give you the opportunity to change your mind. So I've looked into it. You've got 72 hours to annul this marriage. So here goes. Chapter 1. Neil's bad habits. Now, anyone that's spent a bit of time with Neil will notice some of his bad habits when I mention them. Some you might not know at all, so just bear with me. He's not house trained at all. He's not domesticated, and he washes up with his fingers. It's absolutely disgusting. He constantly fidgets. He cannot keep still. He's a complete hypocrite. He gets really enthusiastic about really shit things. He thinks he's the world's best player at FIFA. He also thinks he's the world's best five-a-side footballer. He's not. Number 7, he can't drive. That's all. For someone that's been in the motor business as long as he has, he cannot drive. Neil has no attention span and a very selective memory. When I lived with him, he used to walk around the house naked. And anyone that's spent a little bit of time with him will know that Neil likes to casually pluck his nose hair. He'll stand there and he'll just tickle it a bit. He'll do this at the dinner table. He'll do it in front of customers at work. And number 11, which is where I stop with this, is that he never ever knows when the night is over. He never knows when it's done. Now, unfortunately, I don't have enough time to include the other 89 that I'm aware of, and the hundreds of bad habits that you lot, I'm sure, are aware that Neil has. So what I'm going to do is just move on to my next section, which is, well, basically, Amy, what I'd like to do now is demonstrate some examples of Neil's different, I use this term loosely, qualities. So, first of all, Neil's ability to share. Now, Neil was actually quite good at sharing, but not his own things. He's very good at sharing my things. So, case in point, that me and Neil used to live together. We also used to work together. It was a very intense relationship. That's probably where the gay thing came from. So anyway, we both worked at Peugeot in Clapham, and I I had to work late one Friday night, and I came home. Neil had already got back. When I got home, Neil was already in my room, wearing my clothes, smelling of my aftershave, looking in my mirror, doing his hair with my hair. I don't know what to say. He managed to get out the word hi as he was doing his hair, and then left. But he managed to get in the word, oh, and I've eaten your last tin of tuna. To buy some more. So, yeah. So, the next of Neil's qualities that I'd like to give you an example of is how Neil likes to do a thorough job.
Oh, no.
So I'd like to take you back to the time where, well, when me and Neil used to live together, we lived in a 4-bedroom apartment, and we used to live with Donna, who's here somewhere, there she is, and a couple of other select people that we bullied out of the apartment. But when Donna moved out, we found ourselves needing to fill the other 2 rooms. So I put an advert out on the internet, and I arranged some visits to the flat. It was all my job. And basically the equilibrium of the flat was that we had 2 guys and 2 girls. And what that meant was that the girls didn't always get their own way, and the flat was always relatively tidy. So, seeing as we're both very busy people with work, we set up a bit of a system whereby I answered the door to whoever turned up, and I would give, if I didn't like the look of the person, or I thought we're not going to get on like living together, I gave Neil a bit of a signal, like so. Bit of a cough. At that point, Neil would strut into the hallway in a wife beater vest, just his boxer shorts, a bandana on, and a swastika. And blatantly in front of the person coming through the flat would start doing push-ups. We actually had some lamb shanks and shallots going in the kitchen. So I gave them a separate signal and they come out in nice clothes and start cooking in the kitchen. And it made us look approachable and nice to live with. So that was that. Neil was doing a thorough job. Now, although earlier I mentioned that Neil never knows when the night is over, he does, however, know when things aren't appropriate. So like the time that Tim and Neil went to see Leeds versus Millwall. Oh yeah. Obviously being Northerners and supporting Leeds, but they had tickets in the Millwall end. And Millwall are renowned for having a hooligan crowd. They like to have fights. And so at half time, I get a call. Neil Gibbs on the phone. Answer the phone, and there's someone with a really dodgy London accent. It was Neil, scared that any Millwall fans I think he had his Leeds shirt underneath his coat and sat there pretending to be a Cockney on the phone to me. And I just thought back to the time that I walked in and Neil was using all of my stuff. I said, sorry Neil, I'm too busy. I just want to touch on this briefly. Neil's got another quality, which is first aid. Now, this is obviously quite important. Neil's first aid ability. Now, we were once enjoying a pub quiz in our local pub in Clapham when a local junkie rudely decided to have an overdose in the pub.
Remember that?
Do you remember that, girls? You were there, weren't you? So Neil runs over and just stuck his finger in her mouth to stop her swallowing the tongue. And when the paramedics came and actually said that Neil probably saved her life. Me on the other hand, I was quite pissed off because we lost the quiz. My next point, it's a little quality about Neil that I'm going to call Neil knows how to do what he's told. Now this starts with a story. There's a young guy that's meant to be here today called Fraser Gibson, and he's not here. He's a bit of a liability. It doesn't really surprise me that he's not here. But anyway, the story starts with Fraser on his first day at work. Now, this is where myself and Neil worked at Peugeot in Clapham, as did Josh at the back there, and as did Mr. Henry Uzel at the back. We all worked at Peugeot. Fraser's first day at work, He turned up 3.5 hours late with a hangover in his own clothes. Immediately, we knew he'd fit in. But Neil, being one of the older members of staff we had, was told by our sales manager to have a word with him, take him under his wing, and get him on the path to success. So what Neil did was Neil took him to the pub next door after work and got him so drunk that he ended up dancing naked on the table and snorting lines of Cajun spice. But then came the point after our time of living together, Neil, that evidently I moved away and I took a job in the Middle East. It's a job that myself, Neil, and Joshua over there, we all applied for. I was the only one who got it. Joshua did. Well, he didn't. I got the job. So I actually moved to the Middle East and I left. And when I was out there, there was actually another position that became available. So I phoned Neil and I said, look, they liked you at the interviews. How do you fancy coming out to Qatar in the Middle East? They'll pay for your expenses, they'll pay for your flat, they'll pay for everything. It's a job for you, living the dream, come on, we'll live together, we'll have the flat back together. And Neil actually said, Neil said no. Neil said no because he said he found the one. And he'd never said that before, so I believed him. And that person is Miss Amy Gibbs. To be honest, I didn't see the day when I'd meet someone that could tame Neil. But Neil's found her, and do you know what? They're perfect together. They really are. So, Neil and Amy Gibbs. That's me.